The records for the house and for the early Society of Jesus often speak of how St. Ignatius was ill towards the end of his life and frequently was incapable of doing the work or performing his duties as general, but he had very capable assistants to do that. But he fell sick frequently towards the end of his life and was incapacitated by those illnesses. It's not something that we think of a whole lot, that St. Ignatius, was very limited in what he could do towards the end of his life. But it certainly is true. In all of that, he never lost hope, and he never lost the ability to work when he could, and to put the effort into the work that he was going to do. And sometimes he rose to almost a superhuman capacity, because one day he dictated 50 letters out to different people. He found himself well enough to do that, and I think he probably concentrated a week or two's work in that one single day. And I think for us, it's very good to reflect on how illness is also a way of serving the Lord. In many ways, we view illness as simply an interruption in the work that we're supposed to do. And yet we know that when illness strikes us, we are meant to, through prayer and through good humor and through an openness to whatever God has for us, to grow in our faith and our closeness to the Lord. And we know that St. Ignatius himself said we shouldn't prefer health to sickness. And if the Lord chooses that we are sick or ill for whatever reason, we accept that, and go beyond accepting it. Say, this is the will of God. I embrace what it is that I am suffering. St. Ignatius had written the Principle and Foundation much earlier in his life, and when sickness really struck him later in his life, he lived it too, with that openness to what God would want him to do. As I've said other time, he believed in following the advice of doctors, even if it might kill you. And one doctor just about did kill him by having him, with a fever, drink more wine, wrap himself up in blankets, and sweat out the fever. Fortunately, he went delirious, and the Jesuits got another doctor in there and probably saved his life because of that. So the acceptance of illness, the acceptance of treatment by doctors, all of that becomes part of our spiritual life. And when it's part of our spiritual life, it becomes a way of coming closer to the Lord. Ignatius knew that in his own life. May we know it in ours. And that's the wisdom of St. Ignatius for today.